Niner Nation, today we gather to remember the lives and lasting impact of Reed Parlier and Riley Howell. We also honor the bravery of Rami, Sean, Drew, Emily, and everyone in Kennedy 236 on April 30th, 2019, and the strength and perseverance of this extraordinary community. This evening, you'll hear from student and faculty leaders on how this event forever changed the fabric of our institution. Dean Brooke Muller will share the selected design for the permanent April 30th memorial that will be constructed on our campus. And Chancellor Emeritus Phil Dubois will share a message of hope for us all. While we couldn't gather in person as we would have liked, I'm glad we can still come together on such an important day. Thank you for being here.
Two years ago, my life and the lives of all Niners were changed. The unimaginable happened on our campus, a tragedy that no student, parent, or person should ever have to experience. We lost Riley and Reed, 4 fellow students were injured, and others witnessed the tragedy unfold, and all of us experienced indescribable shock and heartache. It was unbelievable that this could happen to such a special place like our university. But it did happen, and 2 years later, I have not forgotten the pain of that night and the days and weeks that followed. But I also have not forgotten the pride I experienced and the support I felt as a member of Niner Nation. When I ran for student body president, I never envisioned my first official act in front of the community would be to participate in a candlelight vigil. But I can tell you, serving my fellow students through this time will always be one of the greatest honors of my life. As a member of the Remembrance Commission, I needed to think about how could we ensure that years from now, future Niners will know about Reed, Riley, and the events of April 30th. I believe the memorial will provide current and future students with a place to learn, reflect, and honor the lives of those that were lost and directly impacted. Most of all, I am pleased with this work because we have not let this define our university. Instead, the memorial will serve as a permanent reminder of the community and enduring spirit of UNC Charlotte.
April 30th, 2019 was such a hard day, but it didn't start out that way. It was the last day of classes. The semester was almost done. We were so excited, lined up outside of the football stadium, ready to watch a concert. Then suddenly, with one alert message, it was like our worlds completely stopped. Immediately, our entire campus came together and really leaned on one another to process our grief and loss. It was amazing to see the compassion and strength of Niner Nation. The April 30th shooting is something that is now part of UNC Charlotte's history, of our collective history. We come together every year to reflect on what it means to be a Niner, how our campus community was changed because of this event, and most importantly, how it was not changed. I hope future generations will know the honor it is to be a part of Niner Nation, and they say they are a Niner with pride. I hope they will know that we are a university that sticks together and moves with strength and courage through all obstacles. And I hope they will always honor our survivors and remember with gratitude the bravery and sacrifices of Reed and Riley, forever Niners and forever in our hearts.
I still remember watching as Riley Howe and Reed Parleer's parents received their graduation diplomas in May of 2019. And I can still see Emily walk proudly across the stage to receive her own diploma from the hand of Dean Nancy Gutierrez. Ironically, a few days after the graduation ceremony, while on a research trip, I would find myself meeting people who knew Riley Howe and his family intimately. I understood in that moment how deeply we are all connected to one another, how our life stories are often a tapestry of threads that connect us to one another in unforeseen ways. As a historian and religious studies scholar, these memories have moved me into a deeper reflection of the tragic events of April 30th. These memories gently push me to address the various ways communities come together around shared values and beliefs to empower one another and affirm human life as precious. I have especially seen how powerful beliefs and values enable communities to navigate both joyous and tragic events. April 30th was a day like no other in the history of UNC Charlotte. On that day, the university community experienced the senseless deaths of Riley Howe and Reed Parleer, and the assaults experienced by Drew, Emily, Ramey, and Sean. While violence in the world is not a new phenomenon, the UNC Charlotte community had never before been so close to such violence. The events of April 30th didn't happen in some remote place. They occurred on our campus and right across from the very building in which I work, teach, and live. Amid the grief and sorrow of that day, I was able to see how the power of shared values and beliefs enabled faculty and staff, students and alumni, as well as the larger Charlotte community to come together on one accord to process the tragic moments of that day, to grieve in solidarity with one another, and yes, to honor and celebrate the lives of the 49ers that had been taken from them. The cards, letters, flowers that laced the steps of the Kennedy Building, as well as the many moments of compassion across our campus, constituted a movement that not only confronted the darkness of the tragedy of April 30th, but stood in defiance of it and then dared to hope. In those moments, we were reframing our history and declaring that death was not the end of the story. Hope was. On that day, we discovered that the violence, death, and trauma of April 30th did not define us as a community. Hope did. We realized the strength of our collective members, faculty, staff, students, alumni, and the larger community in which we live, to create joy in the midst of the most horrific sorrows, peace in the midst of violence, and unity in the face of extreme loss. Today, we walk in the fullness of this revelation as 49ers and as individuals who are committed to building loving and nurturing communities, whether in moments of triumph or in the depths of tragedy. We are and always will be Charlotte Strong.
Hope lingers here. Good evening. My name is Brooke Muller, Dean of the College of Arts and Architecture and Chair of the Selection Committee for the Remembrance Memorial Competition. I am honored to share a few words on this important date on behalf of the Remembrance Memorial Selection and Advisory Committees, describe the process that was devised for the Remembrance Memorial Competition, and share with you the exciting decision to award this important commission to 10 by 10 Landscape Architecture and Urbanism, Hypersonic Collaborative, and Susan Hatchell Landscape Architecture. In the aftermath of the devastating events of April 30th, and in recognition of the imperative to honor and forever remember Riley Howell and Reed Parlier, as well as pay tribute to Rami Al-Ramadan, Sean DeHart, Emily Haupt, Drew Pescaro, and everyone in Kennedy 236, a Remembrance Commission was convened to develop a work plan. The commission recommended as part of its report the creation of a permanent memorial and commemorative space at Bell Plaza in front of Kennedy Hall. A team was formed to devise a competition process that would lead to a project that would memorialize the events of that tragic day and affirm the strength of the UNC Charlotte community. The call for teams to submit initial proposals was issued in December. In March, the selection committee convened to deliberate over 36 submissions and to identify 4 semi-finalist teams to move forward with conceptual designs. These 4 teams presented their proposals on April 19th, and following a day of rich presentations and dialogue, the selection committee identified 10 by 10 as the winning team. Chancellor Gaber endorsed this decision enthusiastically, and we are eager to move forward with the development of this project. In their Constellation Garden proposal, 10 by 10 powerfully addresses the criteria set forth in the call. The proposal is active and engaging, and at the same time it creates an atmosphere of contemplation and reflection with textured, earthbound elements complementing those that are light and high-tech. A 30-foot tall lattice structure supports a constellation of lights. When people touch the structure, the lights are activated. The more people interact with the structure, the more animated the lighting becomes. A series of small outdoor gathering spaces dedicated to Riley, Reed, and our survivors cluster around a central area that sits underneath the constellation. Critically, 10 by 10 spoke of their inclusive approach to stakeholder engagement and how their conceptual design proposal is exactly that, conceptual. In other words, a starting point for conversations with our community to ensure that the final design of this enduring space serves as both a vow to never forget and the bonds that hold us together. I share the sentiments of the selection and advisory committees in expressing what an honor it was to participate in this process. The competition provided a platform to not only evaluate outstanding design proposals, but to think deeply about the meaning and lasting significance of this project. In loving memory of Riley Howell and Reed Parlier, we look forward to breaking ground in realizing a space that will honor their memories and the abiding strength of Niner Nation.
Broken down and tired of a living life in a merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we go walk it out. Move mountains, we gon' walk it out.
I'll rise up,
rise like the day.
I'll rise up.
silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet and move mountains. Take it to its feet and move mountains.
I'll rise up.
I'll rise like the day.
I'll rise up.
I'll rise unafraid.
I'll rise up.
And I do it 1,000 times again. For you,
I will rise.
for
We
you,
will rise. I will rise again.
all we need is hope. And for that we have each other. And for that we have each other. We will rise. We will rise. And I'll rise up, rise like the day, and I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I will rise 1,000 times again. I'll rise up, rise like the day, and I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And we'll rise up, high like the waves. We'll rise up, in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you.
April 30, 2019, was the saddest day in the history of UNC Charlotte. We lost two young men, Riley and Reed, the pride of their families, down in the prime of realizing their potential. We saw four students, Drew, Emily, Rami, and Sean, seriously injured as a result of the indiscriminate gunfire. We had an instructor and dozens of his students fleeing for their lives from the Kennedy Building, not knowing where or how far to run. Hundreds of our faculty, staff, and students were locked down for hours, fearing the unknown and dreading the worst. The campus was swarmed by first responders running toward the danger, putting their own safety aside to confront an armed assailant whose motive for his actions that day remain unknown even today. Friends and families of anyone affiliated with UNC Charlotte watched the horrifying news, hoping that they would soon receive a call from their loved ones to know that they were safe. The Howell and Parlier families would wait for hours to be told that their sons were not coming home. What followed in the days, weeks, months, and 2 years since that day has been a story of recovery, remembrance, and resilience. It is said that dark clouds can have silver linings. The cloud never goes away, but it can never completely block out the sun either. 2 years ago, we were reaffirmed by the bravery of the two families, the injured students, and our first responders. and including UNC Charlotte police officer Rick Gundacker and an unarmed ROTC cadet, student Eric Dippold, who rushed into the Kennedy building to secure the assailant and tend to the injured. One day later, we were inspired by the compassion of our students in organizing an indoor and an outdoor vigil attended by thousands. Community members responded with their presence that day and with thousands of messages and acts of kindness, both symbolic and tangible. 2 weeks later, we watched the Howell and Parlier families stand tall, representing their sons at commencement ceremonies to accept degrees in memoriam for Reed and Riley. They brought us to tears and to stand with our applause. So too with Emily Haupt as she crossed the stage unassisted to a standing ovation to accept her bachelor's degree. Over the next year, we experienced how the greater Charlotte community embraced the university as their own. Volunteers stepped forward over several months to form a remembrance commission to determine how best to remember Reed and Riley and the events of that day. Yet additional volunteers have been working on the design of a physical memorial in their honor, which you heard more about tonight. The memorial will be an enduring statement to anyone who sets foot on this campus that their lives mattered, to their families, to their friends, to Charlotte, and to us. Dozens of faculty, staff, and students in our performing and fine arts departments worked tirelessly to develop an inspiring live performance to be conducted on April 30, 2020, work that gave way to the pandemic. Still, we were able to assemble a virtual remembrance, brought to a conclusion last year, as it will be this year, by the ringing of the Old Bell. The Old Bell has been part of UNC Charlotte since 1961. It was a gift to our founder, Miss Bonnie Cohn, when Charlotte College moved from its old site at Central High School to where the campus sits today. It marked an important moment in our history, as it has when rung on other occasions. Miss Cohn herself rang it when UNC Charlotte was created by the state legislature as the fourth campus of the UNC system. It has been rung at every commencement each year. It was rung when UNC Charlotte was granted doctoral status and when the football program was approved. But it was also fitting to be rung last year at 5:40 p.m., the precise time of the tragedy in Kennedy 236. It reminds us that April 30 is an essential part of our history, and that it too marks an important day that must be remembered. UNC Charlotte continues to grow stronger as a result both of positive accomplishments, but also by weathering the difficult moments. Recovery is only made possible by remembrance and resilience. A resilient Niner Nation remembers this day and always will.
Thank you, Chancellor Emeritus Dubois, for your inspirational message this evening. And thank you for your steady and compassionate leadership as you guided Niner Nation through the process of grief and recovery from such tremendous loss. I can remember where I was on April 30th, 2019, when news broke about what was unfolding here at UNC Charlotte. As a mother and as a university president, my heart ached for this community and the pain you were experiencing caused by such a senseless act. But I distinctly remember hearing the words of Chancellor Emeritus Dubois, "We will not be defined by the tragedy of April 30th, but by the strength of our collective response." At that time, I had no idea I would be a Niner one day, but I was moved not only by the resolution in his words, but by the actions of this community to live up to them. While I wasn't here on April 30th, just like I know many of our newer students and employees weren't, the community I joined, one bound together through the most unimaginable of tragedies, has taught me so much since my arrival in July. You've taught me the power of resilience and the importance of channeling grief into determination. You've taught me that community isn't defined by geography. It's founded on connection and compassion. Niner Nation is everywhere. It extends beyond campus, state, and even national borders. And Niners will answer every call to help and support one another. And you've taught me about Reed and Riley and the fine young men they were. 2 years ago, you promised never to forget them and the indelible mark they left on this campus and on you. You've kept your promise, and it's my honor to join you in upholding that pledge. Next year, we plan to be together to honor this day in person at the site of our permanent memorial. We know how important this physical space is in our community's ongoing path toward healing and recovery. It will be a place of reflection and remembrance for all members of Niner Nation for generations to come. Thank you for joining us this evening. We will conclude our ceremony with the ringing of the old bell. It will be rung 8 times. Once for Reed Parlier, once for Riley Howell, once for Drew Pescaro, once for Rami El Ramadan, once for Emily Haupt, once for Sean DeHart, once for Professor Adam Johnson and all students in Kennedy 236, and once for all members of Niner Nation.